Trent had always known the game was dirty, but this was a different level. The moment he hit publish on his latest video, the numbers started climbing. Comments flooded in, theories spiraling into madness. Some fans were convinced Jasmine was playing a long con. Others believed foul play was involved, pointing fingers at Darius, Michael, and even Sierra. But Trent wasn't interested in fan chatter tonight. No, he had bigger fish to fry. He paced his apartment. The anonymous text he received earlier weighed heavily on his mind. It was a warning, sure, but it only served to stoke Trent's determination. Whoever sent it underestimated his resolve. After a few laps around the room, Trent grabbed his phone and hesitated. He hated involving Darius, but if there was anyone who could shed light on Jasmine's disappearance, or who stood to gain the most from her absence, it was him. With a sigh, he typed out a message. "We need to talk. Off the record." The reply came faster than expected. "Fine, midnight, the Regent Lounge. Don't be late." The Regent Lounge. Of course. Darius would pick a venue that screamed exclusivity and power. Trent smirked at the predictability, but couldn't shake the flutter of unease in his chest. He quickly packed his bag with essentials: a portable recorder, a notebook, and a backup phone. If Darius planned to manipulate him, Trent intended to leave with more than just words. The lounge was dimly lit, its ambiance curated for power players like Darius. As Trent stepped inside, he scanned the room and spotted Darius already seated at a corner table, sipping a whiskey as if he had all the time in the world. His tailored suit and calm demeanor exuded control. "Well, well, well," Darius greeted as Trent approached. "The man behind the drama, or should I say, my biggest fan." Trent rolled his eyes, sliding into the seat across from him. "Cut the crap, Darius. Why did you agree to meet with me?" Darius signaled for 2 drinks before speaking, his voice smooth and measured. "You've been busy," he said, a faint smirk playing on his lips. "Too busy." "Yeah, that's kind of my thing," Trent shot back. "Exposing lies, unraveling secrets. You should try it sometime." Darius chuckled, but his eyes remained cold. "You think you're clever, don't you? Stirring the pot, feeding the masses with half-baked theories. But here's the thing, Trent. Those theories are starting to get too close to reality, and reality has consequences." Trent leaned forward, his grin widening. "So what's the reality, Darius? Care to enlighten me? Or are you just here to scare me into silence?" Darius's smile faltered for a moment. "You want the truth? Here it is. You're playing a dangerous game. You keep pushing, and someone's going to start pushing back." Trent raised an eyebrow. "Is that a threat? Or are you warning me about someone else?" For the first time, Darius hesitated, taking a deliberate sip of his drink. "Let's just say, not everyone appreciates your kind of attention." Malik and Kendra entered the lounge with their usual composed air, but Malik's eyes narrowed slightly as he spotted Trent and Darius at a corner table. He leaned toward Kendra, his voice steady, but laced with quiet disapproval. "Look at that. Trent and Darius. This should be interesting." Kendra followed his gaze, her expression unreadable. "Darius doesn't do casual meetings," she said. "Whatever they're talking about is not good." Malik nodded, his jaw tightening. "Darius likes to collect people. especially the ones who think they're untouchable. Trent doesn't realize he's already in too deep. They approach the table, Malik keeping his tone measured as he spoke. "Trent, you sure you know what you're doing here?" Kendra offered a polite smile. "We wouldn't want to interrupt." "Oh, no interruption," Darius said smoothly. "In fact, I think Trent could use some perspective on how things operate in our world." Trent raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "And what world is that?" "The one where he owns you," Malik replied curtly. Kendra tugged on Malik's arm. "Come on, let's not do this here." Malik allowed a small smile, but his eyes remained sharp. "Fair enough. Just reminder, with Darius, nothing comes without a price." As Malik and Kendra walked away, Trent turned back to Darius, his curiosity now mixed with unease. What's their deal? Darius leaned back in his chair, swirling his drink lazily. "Always the voice of reason, Malik." "Tell me, does it ever get tiring being so above it all?" Before Trent could get a response, Kendra glanced back at Darius, her voice cutting in with an edge. "Maybe it's not tiring when you're not the one constantly stirring the pot, Darius." Malik added calmly, "It's more exhausting cleaning up your messes." Darius' smirk widened, but his eyes sharpened even more. "Cleaning up? Please, Malik. You think you've stayed so spotless all these years? We both know better." Trent watched the exchange with rapt attention, his mind spinning. "What's he talking about?" he asked Malik directly. Malik didn't answer right away. Instead, he exchanged a look with Kendra. "Nothing you need to worry about," Malik said finally, his tone clipped. "Let's go, Kendra." As the couple left, Trent turned back to Darius, feeling the tension in the air grow heavier. "So what's the history there? Malik clearly doesn't trust you." Darius chuckled, setting his glass down. "Malik doesn't trust anyone who doesn't fit into his perfectly curated world. He thinks he's clean, better than everyone else. But everyone has dirt, Trent, even Malik. You should know that better than anyone." The memory came flooding back, unbidden and unwelcome. A night Trent had tried to bury, but one Darius would never let him forget. It had been an over-the-top party, where alcohol flowed freely and inhibitions were low. Darius had cornered Trent on a balcony, the city lights stretching out below them. "You're so much more interesting than you let on," Darius had said, his voice smooth as silk. Trent had laughed bitterly. "Flattery doesn't work on me, Darius. Try harder." But Darius only smirked, stepping closer. "Oh, I don't need to try. You and I, we're cut from the same cloth. We thrive on control, on chaos. It's intoxicating, isn't it?" What happened next was a blur, a mix of alcohol, adrenaline, and something neither of them wanted to admit. By morning, Darius had left a note, short, cryptic, and infuriating. "We'll do this again sometime." Now, sitting across from Darius in the lounge, Trent felt the weight of that night pressing down on him. He hated that Darius had this hold over him, this knowledge of a moment Trent wished he could erase. "You think you've got me figured out," Trent said, his voice low, "but you don't. That night, it didn't mean what you think it did." Darius tilted his head, his smirk infuriatingly calm. "Oh, I know exactly what it meant. It meant I own a part of you, Trent. And that terrifies you, doesn't it?" Trent's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. He couldn't. Here's the thing, Darius continued, leaning back in his chair. You can keep digging, keep playing the righteous truth teller, but remember this, I always play the long game, and I always win. As Trent walked away that night, he couldn't shake the feeling that Darius was right. But he also knew one thing for certain. He wasn't going to stop. Not now, not ever.